and really talking about the challenges that they've faced really since the pandemic. And what I take note of is that many adults don't talk about the pandemic anymore. I mean, it's in the rearview mirror. People have moved on. But what is underneath the surface is that young people who are seniors today, who are freshmen when the pandemic started, they're still dealing with the effects of that disconnection from their support system, from their friends and the classroom and the activities and the sports. And it really has had a long-term effect on many young people. And they'll talk about it. They're honest about it. And what they're also honest about is that there is a need for more young people to receive mental health services and care, even at a younger age. You know, we're talking now middle school, high school. We just had a conversation about how our elementary schools, a lot of young people are still struggling at that level as well. And I've long believed that every ounce of energy we put into and the resource we put into helping young people deal with these challenges now, whether it's depression or sadness or whatever, body image challenges, whatever they're dealing with now, if we can solve it now and help them have the coping skills now, they'll lead a better life later, a healthier life. So that's why talking about our schools is so important to me. I convened a youth mental health summit last spring. We had over 1,000 individuals and experts who spoke about this for an entire day to talk about all the aspects of this, and also the impact of social media on the mental health of our young people in particular. And it's something they were very candid about, talking about how, many of their friends, if they feel that there's an addiction, a pull because of the algorithms. And one of our enlightened students here even point out that there's a profit motive from the companies to keep you hooked on this. And they recognize it, but a lot of other young people don't realize that they're being pulled into this for reasons that are not for their own best interests. And when you think about the mental health crisis, the Center for Disease Control tracks this. And they have said that 1 in 4 teenagers have actually considered suicide. That is double what it was just 10 short years ago. And 1 in 3 young girls, high school girls in particular, have entertained the thought of suicide. So we're trying to deal with this at the state level. We're talking about bills that will reel in social media. Also, we wanted to announce today that we're having rolling applications to fund school-based clinics. And any school that's interested, you need to come to this school district. You need to ask these individuals, these leaders who 6 years ago established a program that has now seen over 400 students, taking care of them and give them the support they need. And I could say that this is a healthier school environment than many others that have not embraced the opportunity to provide these services right on site for our young people. Think about a young person who finally recognizes, I need some help, or their parents see it, or a peer sees it. And yet they have to now ask their parents to take time off work, to make an appointment, pull them out of school. They need to go every week for a long time. It just doesn't work. But if you provide those services right here in a nurturing school setting with professionals and adults who care about them, and teachers who are trained to see the signs, and students who are trained to see the signs, that's how you build an ecosystem of healthy young people. And I want more schools to do this. So we're announcing that the applications can start today. You don't have to wait till the RFPs go out. It's not once a year. It is a rolling application because, to me, there is an urgent need to get more schools involved in this. We have over $20 million in our budget to fund this, and I want to add more and more across the state of New York. And also, we're going to be helping low-income New Yorkers on Medicaid access mental health care. I've allocated $15 million to increase the Medicaid rates for providers. We need more providers in this space. I talked to the young people about this profession. I said, if I want some free career advice from your governor, this is an emerging area where we need more people to be trained in all the elements of mental health services. Also, I'm going to be having additional funding for the school-based health centers as well. So we've made major commitments. You've heard me talk about with great pride that I'm the first governor to really put a spotlight on mental health. My very first budget had over $1 billion to deal with all aspects of the mental health spectrum, whether it's making sure there's more psychiatric beds available, that there's more supportive housing available, that in the subways in the cities we have teams that are out there bringing people in off the streets and helping them have coping skills to live on their own. But also, I want to make sure that we don't lose focus of the young people. And that's why today I'm also announcing we're forming a youth advisory board, and I think I have some outstanding candidates standing behind me to participate in our statewide youth advisory board, because I will learn so much more from a session that I just had than anything I can ever do talking to adult experts. These are the experts. They see what's going on. They are living it, and they have the courage to step forward and talk about it. And I told them, don't underestimate the resiliency that's now part of who you are, because you came through this pandemic and you've suffered the slings and arrows and the challenges, but here you are standing and not just worried about your own mental health and what's going on in your world, but you also want to reach out to other students who you see struggling. You want to help them, and that's how we build a healthy environment for our students. So really proud to be here to help end the stigma associated with asking for help. These young people know that that exists, but we can break through together. And also to the adults, the school administration, the professionals, Northern Rivers, who stepped up and provide services all over the state of New York. This is how we're starting to change people's lives for the better, and I could not be prouder. So with that, we'll be happy to take any. I also want to recognize that Commissioner Dr. Ann Sullivan is here, the Commissioner of Office of Mental Health, who has been on this journey with me a very long time. We've gone all over the state talking about this, convening people, trying to find solutions with the legislature, other actions that we could take at the state level. So I want to commend her for her extraordinary leadership as well. So thank you very much.
Let's start with some on-topic questions from the Mohonasen High School TV station.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Martin Caselli. I'm with the MCSD TV. The Safer Kids Act and the New York Child Data Protection Act are both a big portion of your campaign for teen mental health. They're also both currently in the committee senate. When do you expect these acts to reach your desk for signing?
These are both very important, and I'm working with our legislators to talk about the fact that parents should be able to have some controls as well. Young people don't know that, there's algorithms that are bombarding with them. It's going to be restricting these algorithms to young people, but also having control so you can shut this off from midnight until 6 a.m. because this is when young people need to be sleeping. So that's part of it, but also protecting their data online. There are a lot of bad actors out there who want to take advantage of them, get their data, and pretend that they're a young friend who's just reaching out to them when in fact it could be someone looking to do some harm to them. So these are important priorities of mine. I actually thought they're so important I put them in my budget. So they're on the table when we start our budget negotiations. We expect by mid-March. The budget is due, except it falls on a religious holiday this year, so a little complicated there, but at the end of March we'll be wrapping that up. So it is my full expectation that we'll have all the support we need from the legislature, and we'll start enacting this, leading the rest of the nation in our approach to make sure we protect these young lives.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
We'll do off topics, but anything else on youth mental health before we wrap? Yeah. Go ahead. Okay, we're gonna kick the kids out for off topic.
No,
So
we're not kicking them out. We're inviting them to go back to class. Okay. Would you rather stay here or go to class?
Just logistically speaking, the rolling application,
Yep.
is this for the funding that's in the budget? Is this
Yep.
for something that already exists? What exactly is it?
Dr. Sullivan, you want to explain how this works?
There's $20 million in the budget that will go towards the rolling application. Those are startup funds to get the school-based programs going, either $45,000 for schools that are in need, high need, or $25,000. Then the school-based programs can bill and can become self-sufficient on their own. So it's startup money, and it's available for any school, anywhere. You can just come to us and we'll set it up.
So it's based on the assumption that it will pass in the budget? Is that the idea?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thanks.
Question on redistricting.
All right, hold on. Kids, you gotta go back to class.
Okay, lunch. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Have a nice day,
You guys are so articulate, so smart. Really enjoyed talking to you. We'll stay in touch. Hey, great comments. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you. Good to see you again. Hey, thanks for sharing your story.
Thanks, Governor. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you again. Principals, thank you very much.
Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the comments. There's the superintendent.
Okay, does anybody, maybe Karen DeWitt, have an off-topic question?
Redistricting, I know that you said that you're staying out of the process with the legislature, but
Well, the Constitution allows a multi-step process, which is that there is a commission that's convened in a bipartisan way, yes, to draw maps, but it is the prerogative of the legislature to vote yes or no, and if they vote no, they have an alternative. That's exactly what is allowed in the Constitution, so they're wrong in their assessment. As far as the timing, yes, there's a certain sense of urgency around this. People are out there with their petitions already, so I'm anxious to have this chapter wrapped up as soon as possible. I believe the legislature wants this wrapped up within the next day or so. So, no, we're taking it very seriously. We're looking at it closely, and I have some options available to me, but I will, talk to see whether there's a request to do anything extraordinary to move that along.
So, I'm sorry, does that suggest that you are going to issue a message of necessity?
No, you did not hear me say that. You heard.
You said wrapped up in the next day or so. That
Well,
would mean
no, wrap up the discussions about what they want to vote on. Okay? So that's different than, there is a possibility, there are options available to me as governor. I'm having conversations with the legislature on what that looks like, but they have to finalize what they would want to vote on in the first place before anything else can happen.
Would you consider a message of necessity if that?
That's what I'm saying. I have options available to me. I'm having conversations now, and this is a request that has to come from the legislature anyhow before I would even entertain it. Who else?
Governor, do you believe that this bipartisan independent redistricting committee serves any purpose at this point? Because the Democratic legislature is willing to ignore these maps. I mean, what do you say to New Yorkers who are actually concerned that this whole idea of a bipartisan redistricting committee really serves for nothing?
Well, it certainly starts the process. It's required that this group meet. They give their recommendations, and I don't know what they're going to end up finally, but it's a different process than starting from square one with nothing. It seems to me they're working off of what was presented to them and making some adjustments from what I'm seeing out there to those maps. And so they didn't just say, throw it all out, let's just look at New York State and start over. So it did play a role in setting a framework that is now the foundation from which they are making their changes.
Governor, do you think that the chutes and ladders just kind of within this redistricting process kind of sets a bad modern precedent kind of to the process?
I haven't thought about chutes and ladders since I was about 5, but I actually liked Candyland better. But no, this is unprecedented because the law changed in 2014. This is the first time that the people of the state of New York and the legislature and all of us have had to deal with these new rules. And so once we get through the messiness of figuring out the first time, there'll be a model we go forward. So I think we need to just acknowledge that this is a new way of doing it. We did not do this in the 2012 redistricting when I was a member of Congress and was redistricted out of my seat, but that's another story. So I'm very familiar with how this works. But no, it's a different chapter because the laws have changed since the last time we did this. That's why it's a little bit messy now, but it'll be settled soon.
One more.
Governor, do you have any response to language and tone that Principal County Executive used to describe you and other women within this county the last couple of weeks?
I have to confess, I am not following this individual on social media. Newsflash, just don't even know what he's saying and truly don't care. Thank you, everybody. Okay.